listeners. Welcome to episode 8 of Plano Political Pitbulls podcast. I am Esther.
And I'm Ruth.
And we have a packed show for you today. Before we get started, we have an announcement to make. Our very own Ruth here got a full-time job. Mazel tov. This is a side gig for us, not a full-time thing, even though I would like it to be. So Ruth is all grown up and she's working in the real world now. So for us, that means that our podcast will only be able to tape it once a week and put it out there once a week. If something happens that is critical to talk about immediately, I will record an episode solo. However, for the most part, we will record episodes on Sunday and get them out to you all by Monday. So that means our episodes will go longer than 30 minutes because there will most likely be more to talk about. So our very first topic is revisions to the Great Update Rebate program for our city of Plano. Now, I don't know if you're going to remember this, Ruth, but we talked about this program before, and council has now changed it a little bit. So on July 22nd, 2024, they have revised it. And the original purpose for this program was to keep houses looking nice so as to not bring down the neighborhood. So the intention is that if you have somebody who maybe can't afford to fix the outside of their home, perhaps it needs a paint job, they'll just ignore it, let it go, and it'll bring the neighborhood down and the home values down. So this was a way for us, the taxpayers, sort of take money from one and give it to another. But it was for, one could argue, a good reason, because if everyone on that street's house was, one person's house was looking bad, that'll bring the whole street down. So they've now added a mission statement to this, which is not like the original intent that this was supposed to be. So the new mission statement is to promote economic development through neighborhood revitalization that benefits the quality of life and the evolving needs of residents. So this mission statement sounds like it's more about making homes retain their value so they keep the tax rolls up. You got nothing to say to that, huh?
I'm a little, I'm not sure I fully understand.
Okay. So if you don't keep up your property, the property will not go up in value. Okay?
Right.
If the property doesn't go up in value, the city will not get to tax will not get a lot of tax dollars for that property.
Okay.
So the tax will go down on the amount of money that they get.
Right. They don't like that.
No, they don't like that. See, what sounded like they were trying to help our fellow neighbors originally, way back when I first heard about this program years and years ago, has now more turned into we don't want to lose money. We want to make sure that we're not losing money. But there's more.
There's always more.
So I got more details have come out about the actual program because they made a couple of changes. So what was, before they changed it, was basically you got a rebate of, well, first of all, you could do interior or exterior. Okay. Now it's only going to be exterior and mobility accessible. I'm not quite sure why that particular thing they wanted, other than it's just nice, but okay. There used to be a percentage of rebate. Now they've gotten rid of all the percentages. It has to be owner occupied now. Before, it could be owner occupied or it could be a rental property. The property's age has to be 30 years or more. Basically, the person must put in at least, the very minimum is $20,000 in renovations, and the maximum rebate that a person could get is $5,000. So, and then there's a figure on there's a thing on appraised value and single family and all that. But pretty much, bottom line is, in most cases, a person will have to spend $20,000 to get $5,000 back. Now,
that sounds kind of useless.
Yeah, I can tell you right now that painting a house, we painted our house last year. It did not amount, the outside, by the way, it did not amount to $20,000. It was more like $3,000. So we would have never qualified for this. Okay? No one.
Well, the thing that sounds ridiculous is you have to put in $20,000.
Mm-hmm.
But then you're getting $5,000 back. You're losing money anyway.
Well, so that means that the owner has to spend at least $15,000. I mean, they're going to be out of pocket $15,000. Now,
what's the point? How big are your renovations that cost $15,000?
Well, I can tell you a new roof is about $20,000.
Oh.
But roofs are usually covered by homeowners insurance. So you would just pay we had to put in a new roof. The roof was shot, but because there was a storm, and that's why the roof was damaged, we put it in our insurance and we only had to pay our deductible, which was a hell of a lot less than $5,000, than $20,000 or $5,000. It was more like $1,000. So $20,000 in repairs on an outside of a house, those are big projects. Those are not, oh, my house just needs a little repainting. I need to paint the fence, maybe, fix up the grass a little bit.
It sounds like this is not going to be used all that often.
What it sounds like is it's not going to be used by the, shall we say, lower income or middle class those folks who can't afford the upkeep, which is what I thought this was originally intended for.
Right.
No, that's a big chunk. So here's what'll really get you. So the things that are covered, because there is a list of them, because there are only certain things that you can do to get this money. Now, cast iron water pipes. So replacing the pipes. Sometimes the pipes are old. Now, that's inside the house. Nobody's going to be able to see that, number one. Replacement of water lines. Foundation repairs. Now, foundation also, sometimes that is covered by insurance, and that can really bring down. You can't even sell a house if there's a foundation problem with it. Windows and doors. Siding. Roof. Again, roofs are usually taken care of from insurance. Painting.
I guess they're like, in case you don't have insurance or something, or it's not covered.
Fence repair or replacement. This one kills me. Pool repairs. Pool repairs. Yeah. She's looking at me like I have two heads. Yeah. We're gonna give taxpayer money to fix somebody's pool. This is like first world problems. Ridiculous. Attached outdoor living areas. So like a little gazebo or overhang, maybe a nice, outdoor kitchen area.
Who is this for again?
Good question. It's quite ridiculous. Chimneys and gutters, those are pretty important. Landscaping, energy efficient irrigation system.
What?
Energy efficient.
No, I heard you. I just don't get it.
I've never heard of an energy efficient irrigation system. I've heard of an irrigation system that, if it rains, it won't water the grass. Energy efficient irrigation system. Yes, that is.
Not having that will definitely bring down the home value.
Yeah, what? Why in the world is that even necessary? First of all, you don't need an irrigation system. There are plenty of people.
It's probably nice to have, but I don't know if you need it.
Yeah, plenty of people water their grass without one. Exterior lighting.
Because everyone needs exterior lighting.
Mm-hmm. Like the exterior.
Do they mean like...
you got to spend I would like to know how in the world you're going to spend $20,000 on exterior lighting, first of all.
Do they mean like the light outside your door? Like the front door?
Yeah. Could be one of those things. You're not going to reach $20,000 with that.
No, the only exterior light I can think of are the light on your backyard door and the light on your front door. Mm-hmm. That's it.
I mean, you could light the path of the walkway. Some people do
not necessary.
That, but it's not necessary. And I don't think you're going to get $20,000 for that. HVAC units. And my all-time favorite, solar panels. Now, solar panels can cost $20,000.
Yeah, but your average person doesn't usually have solar panels.
No, if I had an extra $20,000 lying around, solar panels would not be the first thing on my list to put up. Or I should say, if I had an extra $15,000 lying around, that would not be my first choice.
Again, we've crossed into first world problems.
I mean, why should I pay for someone else to put up the solar panels so that they can actually save on their energy bills?
I mean, we're not the things you listed, not one of them was like, your lawn is overgrown and it's a danger.
No. I mean,
like, there are people who they haven't been able to keep up with their lawn, and then you can't see the sidewalk or a walkway. It literally is just all grass.
Yeah, we don't have it that bad here. They keep a tight ship on that. I'm
just saying that's an actual problem. What you listed was not anything remotely comparable.
No. I don't understand what the actual purpose of this. Who is this program actually trying to help, because it is not going to be helping the lower middle class folks who are living paycheck to paycheck, and all of a sudden they see their house needs painting and they can't afford it. They can't afford to paint it. This ain't helping them because they can't fork over $15,000. So this is just...
And also the paint job or repair probably isn't going to cost $20,000.
Yeah, no, it won't. I mean, unless you got a really big house, and then you could afford to pay yourself, probably.
Unless your roof is completely shot and your insurance won't cover, or you don't have insurance. That's the only person this would be for.
Right. I mean, that, yeah, okay. I could see that. But most people, or you have somebody who has to fix their foundation, but still, they've got to fork over $15,000 or whatever it is, because you're only getting $5 back. I mean, that's it. That's the max. And you have to spend at least $20,000. So this is a...
We've lost all purpose.
This is ridiculous. I have no words. I just have no words for this.
It's not even accomplishing what it's supposed to accomplish.
Well, I don't know. I mean, they want the neighborhoods to look nice so that they get top valuation, so they could get top tax dollars. But then they're forking over $5,000 to people who most likely don't necessarily need it. I would rather help. If it were me, I would have an income. Well, first of all, I wouldn't do this at all. But if they truly wanted to help somebody, okay, I would help the senior who is on a fixed income and can't afford the $3,000 to paint their house, not a person who can afford to put solar panels on their roof and give them a $5,000 rebate, plus they're probably also going to get a tax credit on their taxes the next time they file their income taxes from the federal government too. So I have a headache. I just can't. But yeah, I'm going to move on because I just can't. I can't even talk straight after that. It's ridiculous.
It's okay.
It's our money, just wasted. All right. So after that lovely meeting, we come to the 2024-2025 budget for Plano. Now, this meeting came on July 24th, and the Plano's city manager released his proposed budget. Now, hold on to your wallets, folks, because our city manager wants a tax rate increase. Yes, you heard me correctly, a tax rate increase. But, he said, interestingly, not one that is high enough to trigger a voter approval. Because he knows that if people had to vote on it, they'd vote hell no. Not no, I would write in hell no. But lucky for him, no, it's not lucky, it's actually on purpose. He is not going to raise it that high up. They didn't release the actual rate number yet that they want to go up to. Apparently, they had gotten the complete numbers for the property valuations 3 o'clock that same day. So obviously they didn't have time to crunch the numbers. So let's talk budget, people. All right, a couple of things of note that happened at this meeting. So our lovely city manager, he wants to shift our mindset from a fast growth, high growth community to one that has more of a focus on maintenance and more of a focus on infill and redevelopment. He said we need to be thinking in multi-years, not just year to year, and to ensure that we are thinking of things that are recurring expenditures and revenues. Okay?
Okay.
Sounds pretty smart. I wonder if that means that we're kind of reached our peak now and we're not going to continue to grow our population. That would be nice.
I don't know.
So instead of giving the staff a raise this year, which was supposed to be a 2.5% raise, they are just going to give everyone $1,000 in December of this year. All right. And there is a hiring freeze, and the hiring freeze will continue until January 2025. And then they will reevaluate. Now, before I go on, I have to let you know, it's a little strange, but fiscal years for government go from October to the following October. So this budget that came out is for the rest of 2024 and 2025. All right?
Okay.
I'm not quite sure why they do it that way. It's just how most cities and even the federal government does it. Mark asked every department to reduce their operating expenses by 5%. Ooh, cuts by 5%. It's a miracle. And he claims that this saved over $6 million. All right? He wants to restore the rainy day fund because they actually used it for the last storm. So they've taken a chunk out of that, and they're still cleaning up from that last storm. Now, interestingly, the average home price values went up in Plano. Now the average house in Plano is $579,621.
Is that supposed to be good or bad?
Well, so we moved here 15 or so years ago, and the average price for a home in Plano was $250. So it's gone up considerably. But from last year, it's gone up 2.7%. And yet they need more money. That's apparently the 2.7% increase is not enough. Okay? So, well, why are we here? Why are we here? Well, if you recall, I mentioned that we have a deficit of about $60 million. Okay? And why we're here? Well, our 65 and over population is growing substantially. And that means they get the tax freeze. So you hit 65 and you can apply for a freeze. Whatever you're paying at the time you apply for the fees, you will pay that until you move out of the house. Either on your feet or wheeled out.
And that's why they're doing all these mixed-use developments so they can get young people, right?
Well, the young people would actually probably prefer to actually move into a home, and we're having more older people
Well, I'm just saying
stay.
that's their thinking, I think.
Oh, maybe. I mean, you can't freeze a senior who lives in, let's say, an apartment can't freeze their rent. So I don't know. Anywho, our lovely corporate welfare is starting to catch up with us, folks. Remember when I talked to you about the TIFs zones?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so those TIF zones are costing us now $1.1 million.
Yay.
Isn't that great? An additional $1.1 million. And then we have more property has been taken off the rolls in the amount of $2.3 million. Just came right off those rolls. And other revenue streams have declined, including municipal court fines. So I guess people aren't speeding or getting any kind of trouble. So the fines are down. They're not really calling the 911 because that service fee is down. Their franchising fees are down, and their fire inspection fees are also down. When you have a fireman come in or firewoman come in and check out the place, make sure it's up to code, well, they're not doing that as much because I'm not quite sure why. I guess people aren't building as much. Of course, it doesn't seem like that. It seems like things are going up every day. Maybe those will pick up later in the year. And of course, they are still dealing with, like everyone else, inflation. And their health insurance premiums went up for their staff. And as you know, if you have health insurance through your employer, usually the employer pays for half and you pay the other half. So if the insurance goes up, it goes up on both sides. Now, interestingly, what they did not put here, but I did, is the 3% raise every year for the past several years that they have given staff. A 3% raise every single solitary year. I lost count of how many years that was. I could tell you what was for at least back in when inflation was 0 or 1%, those folks were still getting a 3% raise every year. I found it really quite appalling, and I did not understand it. I understand wanting to give people a raise to keep pace with cost of living and inflation.
And even then, it doesn't keep pace.
But for the average person, not for necessarily a government worker.
Okay, sure.
But when inflation is almost 0 or 1%, why are you giving folks a 3% raise? It makes utterly no financial sense. And it would infuriate me every single year. I was actually shocked when they actually thought of downing it to 2.5, and now they're not even getting that, but they are getting $1,000. So they're getting something still, which good for them, bad for us.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that you should, whatever the inflation rate is, that's what they should get. Not, the inflation rate is less than 1%, so we'll give you a 3% raise. No. I'm sorry. I don't I don't go with that. So some things they're doing, I already mentioned, the hiring freeze, the 5% reduction. They're also doing a reviewing of fees for service to add inflation increases. So those who need a permit, it's going to be higher. So I would get your permits now, folks, before they raise the prices. And anything else that you have to pay extra for from the city. So where does our revenue come from? Well, most of it comes from property taxes, 44.2%. Property and sales taxes. 34.5% is charges for service, okay? And if you want to see the full budget, it is up on the city's website. They have lovely charts and lovely graphs and beautiful pie charts. But I found something very interesting and odd. So they're claiming that we have this big deficit, okay? But in the pie charts, unless I could be missing something here, maybe something has not been explained, but they have this one pie chart of budget resources. So where's the money coming from, okay? And that is amounts to the amount of money is over $800 million, $846 million and change. But the budget expenses are $756 plus million dollars. So that is approximately, if I rounded it, $90 million extra. So I have a big question. Where's that money going? Because the taxpayers aren't seeing it in a break. We're not seeing it in a cut. Now, unless they are including the increase the tax increase we're going to get, which they don't know what the number is, so I don't know how they figured this out. But if they're going to be getting if they're going to have $90 million rounded left over profit, so to speak, then why do we have to pay so much if that included the increase? If it didn't include the increase, then we don't need an increase because they're $90 million in the black. Okay? So.
What?
Yeah. See? $90 million profit. More money than they have more money than they will be spending, projected to be spending, which is a good thing. But then why should we, unless I'm missing something here, unless they left something out, something ain't kosher.
What do you mean by us paying more?
In our tax rate. So right now, every $6 million is 1 cent of the tax rate. Mm-hmm. So I'd like to know where the $90 million is coming from and where it's going to go. Now, speaking of tax rate, so the current rate that we pay is $41.76 per 100 square feet of property. Okay? Your M&O side, your operations and management, is 30.26 cents, and the debt rate is 11.50 cents. Okay? By the way, folks, the budget workshop will be August 12th if you would like to go and see each and every department and find out a little more. So this was very interesting. They have some required items that carried over to this next year's budget that they got to pay for. Now, one of those is going to be funding the 2025 elections. Okay, I got that. Got to fund the elections, right? And then the zoning ordinance review and update, because, we have to hire an outside person or expert to help us with that. Apparently, staff can't do that all on their own, and these experts are very expensive. I went into the wrong business, people. Becoming an expert, very lucrative, okay? And my all-time favorite one, installing a PSA pickleball courts. I'm sure this was Julie Homer's thing. It has to be.
That's
yeah. And by the way, this funding is for these things are over $1 million. I'd like to know, again, how much are we paying for those pickleball courts?
Why does government always spend? Why is it with every government expense? It's always like $1 million, $1 billion. Why is it always like millions of dollars?
Well, when it comes to government, nothing is cheap. I don't know why. I always wonder, do they use gold leaf in things? Why are these things so expensive? I don't know. I have no idea. Obviously, inflation has hit hard too. And here are some other things, people, that are going to go up for us. So we're going to have an increase in our water rates because the North Texas Municipal Water District, where we actually get our water, is raising their rates. Yay! So we're going to go up in the water bill by 24 cents per 1,000 gallons. Now, I know everyone goes, oh, well, it's only 24 cents.
It adds up.
It adds up real quick, okay? And then our wastewater treatment, your sewer, that's going to increase too. And they're going to increase trash. Trash bills going up, folks.
So what isn't going up?
That's a good question. So for the trash, if you have a $95,000, yeah, that's what they call it. If you have a 95-gallon container, you are going to now be paying $24.60 a month. And if you have a 68-gallon container, you'll be going to $17.61 per month. Oh, and I forgot the greatest news. Here's the good one for you. They're going to increase that fee every single year by $1 now. Yay!
Why?
Because they can. Because apparently they need the money. Okay? So when you all get your water, sewer, and trash bill in the mail come October, you're going to see, don't be surprised when you look at it and go, gee, it's much higher than it was last October.
But what are they expecting? Oh, we're gonna need that extra money for they're predicting they're gonna keep needing more money from this, so we're gonna keep raising it $1.
Well, if you think about it, so if, and I don't think this is the case, but if the trash collection is supposed to pay for itself with our service fees for trash, okay, then if they give the trash people a raise every year, they're going to need more money every year.
That's where it's going to go.
They have to get new cans, get fix the garbage trucks, the recycling, whatever. Yeah, their costs are going to go up every year, so that means our bill is going to go up every year. Now, I have a funny feeling, and this could just be me. I could be totally wrong on this, but I'm feeling like the trash collection probably doesn't pay for itself in our fees alone. I could be totally wrong on that, but okay. So we're going to just be forking more over in so many areas. And our 2020 bonds, the money will be drying up and all used. So of course, we're going to have more bonds up for election in 2025.
They wonder why my generation's depressed.
I don't know if your generation totally knows about these things. Well, maybe they do. If
They see it in their bill.
This is true. You know what I saw? I was just looking at our water bill, and there is actually a sales tax that the city charges for the trash removal service. So not only do they charge us to remove the trash, but they charge us a sales tax, which they get to keep 1 cent of anyway. I mean, I'd rather you might as well just increase the bill. But, ridiculous. People. I don't know what we're going to do. I mean, because we're getting it. We're just getting it from every which way. Okay? And I did something because I wanted to check and see myself what my own tax bill would be if nothing changed. So I took a look at my own tax evaluation. We get our evaluations in May. I don't know why it takes the county so long to get it to the city, but we get ours in May. And like most years, my evaluation went up. And so I wanted to see that if the rate for Plano remained the same, didn't increase, what would I have to pay? How much money would I be giving to Plano? So I rounded these numbers. So these are not the exact numbers. These are rounded for simplicity. So in 2024, I paid over $9,000 in property taxes. And $2,100 of that went to the city of Plano. Okay? In 2025, if the rate stayed exactly the same and nothing changed across the board, that's with all our taxing entities, I would have to pay over $10,000 total, and so about a $1,000 increase, and $2,400 of that would go to Plano. So that's about a $300 increase. And remember, this is if the tax rate stayed the same. So if they did nothing, okay, they'd still get an extra $300 from me. Now, I have a feeling that most properties in Plano went up in evaluation. So if they didn't change the tax rate, we'd still be forking over more. Yet, apparently, that is not enough for them. And Mr. Israelson still wants more money.
They want more every year. It's always the same, no matter what the circumstances are surrounding it. They always want more money.
And think about what $300 can get a family. I mean, $300 for a family of 5, that could get a lot of groceries. $300 is a car payment. It's back to school clothes for the kiddies and the school supplies. But nope, families are going to have to fork that sucker over to the city to waste it on pickleball courts and
Because that's what's everyone's concern.
the Great Update Rebate, so somebody can put in solar panels. And, oh, yes, I forgot to mention, guess which didn't get a cut?
What?
Economic development.
Of course not.
Nope, they're not cutting that. They budgeted $8.5 million last year, and they're budgeting $8.5 million this year. And right now, in the Economic Development Fund, there is $54 million. I could think of a lot of things I'd rather do with that $50 million. Like, maybe that could be the raise for the employees, or it could be taking care of some inflationary costs. Perhaps we could actually cut the tax rate for people, but I don't think they'd do that. So yeah, we're going to be paying more, even if they do not increase our rate, but they will. And we're going to be paying for more in water, trash, wastewater, fees, all across the board.
You're not making me want to go into the real world.
And somehow, we, the people, will have to come up with this money while inflation is still high and unemployment is going up. And that really is a great segue to what the next thing I wanted to talk about, because unemployment, according to the July report from the Bureau of Labor, it went up. And it has gone up now 3 months in a row.
It's probably even higher than they're saying because they don't include certain people.
Mm-hmm.
So it's probably even higher.
Well, they don't include people who have basically given up and are no longer looking for work.
Yeah.
So yes, it would be higher, but they don't usually count those. So, anywho. Oh, and by the way, we got to come up with all of this, with this $300 extra. But according to this same Bureau of Labor Statistics report, weekly earnings are down. So we're making less money.
And we're having to pay more money.
And exactly. And we're going to have to pay more money.
Again, they wonder why my generation's depressed.
So if you are just...
Not a good start.
If you are just fit to be tied after this episode, please go and contact the Plano City Council members. Even try and email our lovely city manager and say, what the heck do you think you're doing to us? And perhaps the rate's not out yet. Who knows? Maybe they'll have a change of heart. Well, that's going to be it for this week for us. Our pit bull of the week is still our adorable little angel. She is still up for adoption at the Plano Animal Shelter. You can see her adorable little picture on our website, planospoliticalpitbull.com. Click on the link, Pit Bulls Up for Adoption, to learn more about Angel. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to this show. It does help us out with those algorithms. This is Esther.
And this is Ruth.
for Plano's political pitbull signing off.